after several hundred readings, we finally came to the conclusion that it would appear that all of the citizens, all the men and women of the United Kingdom were declared dead and lost beyond the seas.
What does that mean, then?
Well, the state took everybody and everybody's property into trust, and the state became the trustee husband behind all the titles to both the people and their property.
So the state took control by saying everyone is dead.
And until a living man or woman comes back and claims their titles, and when they do, prove that they are alive, then the titles can be revested and they can claim for damages.
Okay, so essentially where we are right now is that still today, here in 2009, that legally speaking, you and I, on camera, we are dead.
Absolutely, because you didn't claim your titles back after 7 years, as it says in the statutes.
Wait a minute, 7 years after 1666?
7 years after you were born.
Oh, really? So I have time from when I'm born to when I'm 7 to claim?
Yes. Otherwise, you are dead beyond reasonable doubt.
Okay.
And therefore, the state takes your property and your body into trust.
That's fascinating. And this all came about as a result of the Great Fire?
Well, could be a bit of a smokescreen.
Right. That's a nice metaphor. So the Sesticate Act fundamentally underlines that you or I are dead. Now, does that have anything to do with when we go to court and we're not allowed to represent ourselves?
Absolutely. We're starting to see the beginning of the creation of a legal fiction of a dead entity.
What is a legal fiction?
Is a construct on paper. So when you get a bill or a summons from a court, it's always in capital letters.
Right.
Now, last time I went into a graveyard, all of the on all the graves, all the names, all the men and women were in capital letters.
Right.
That's mortmain, probate, death.
Right.
So the state or the corporation that writes to you in all capital letters is writing to a dead legal fiction.
So do I have a legal fiction?
A legal fiction was created when your mother informed the state or the Registrar General that there was a new vessel in town when you were birthed. So you have a birth certificate just like a ship.
Now, a birth certificate is spelled B-I-R-T-H. But we're talking about a birth, that's in B-E-R-T-H, which is where you would moor a boat. Is that correct?
Correct. Now, your mother had a birth canal.
Right.
Just like a ship.
Okay, so
I think you could say that beyond reasonable doubt that the legal fiction is classified as a vessel, and as we now understand, is floating on the sea of commerce.
So I'm an actor in commerce.
Yes, you have a legal fiction which allows you to operate in commerce. And it was created when your mother and father registered you and got a birth certificate from the Registrar General.
But they didn't know anything about this, right?
They didn't know anything about it. They just thought that they were doing the same thing as happened before in the 18th century and before, where people would go to the church and ask the priest or the vicar to give them a slip of paper and put them into the local registry in the church and give them a copy for their own Holy Bible at home.
So when did this change over?
In about 1837, when the Births, Deaths and Marriages Act and the post of Registrar General came into being, and his job was to collect all of the records from all the churches.
Now, the word regus I find very interesting because register comes from regus. That means the queen.
Absolutely.
Or the crown. So that would actually mean that children are property of the crown. Is that correct?
The legal fictions are indeed.
So does that have any ramifications for our viewers?
Well, the Registrar General holds everybody in custody.
So essentially everyone that is a UK citizen, registered with a passport, national insurance number, etc., is essentially in custody.
That's right.
But being in custody typically is something that you think of as the police doing when you've done something wrong. But that doesn't necessarily mean that custody in the way that you're using it is a bad thing.
No, the creation of the legal entity, sometimes known as a straw man or a straw party, allows men and women, one, to function in commerce, and two, to accept the benefit privileges provided by the state,
What kind of things are that?
such as national health insurance, national insurance, the dole, clothes, food, heat.
Right.
No, it don't, it does nothing about being me and you. But we like the idea of making it better, but we just can't be bothered. So what more can we do? Yes, we like the idea. I don't enjoy you.
By a corporate entity is a benefit privilege to the straw man or to that legal fiction.
So what we're actually talking about is that we are in custody, we don't know that we have a legal fiction, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, because the majority of the people in this country and everybody that operates this system worldwide under the International Monetary Fund, we hope that the vast majority of people are fed, sheltered and watered. But, unfortunately, as we start seeing these systems break down and not operate to the benefits of the people, this is where things start going wrong.
Fine. So it's entirely possible that these systems have changed over the years and become more draconian and unfair against men and women.
Like myself and Vincent will say, the system itself is neutral and can be operated for the benefit of men and women. It all depends on the level of education of the men and women in society and who is pulling the levers.
Absolutely. That's an important point. We still have legally elected representatives. The system that we're operating in is just not the same system that we understand it to be. It's a parallel system. And we have to understand exactly who we are as individuals and how we can operate in this system. And that's what we're going to be looking out for throughout the show with Vincent and also with Dominic.
Then we cannot face the Lord. So I hope that you find what it is you're looking for. Yes, I hope that you find what it is you're looking for.
The City of London is renowned worldwide for being a centre for markets. Now, markets is where merchants work. So there's mercantile law. Now, mercantile law is based on admiralty. So if we look around us, particularly here in the city, we can find a great deal of symbols that relate to admiralty.
'Cause you are beautiful to me, I can't deny. See, there are some things that we cannot face alone. So I hope that you find what it is you're looking for.
We're still here in the city-state of London, but we've just taken a short walk from Pudding Lane, down King William Street, in fact, to the Bank of England. Now, Dominic, the Bank of England is quite an important piece to understand in all of this, because surely this is the people's bank.